Well, parts of Minnesota are getting too much rain, and the rest of us in drought are not getting enough, but it is going to be unsettled over the next couple of days. We'll talk about that. Plus, the remnants of a typhoon hitting Alaska, and a warm start to next week with a blast of cool fall air coming later. Well, yeah, the remnants of a typhoon in the Pacific are hitting Alaska here over the next couple of days. Still packing a powerful punch, too, even though, of course, the waters are not tropical around Alaska. But one of the many records being broken, dew points in the upper 60s for parts of southwestern Alaska for this time of year are pretty high. And this is the biggest storm to enter the Bering Strait in a decade. So this is quite the weather maker. This is satellite imagery as the storm is hitting Alaska here. It's going to go right through the Bering Strait. So the west coast of Alaska is really what's going to get pummeled here. These are winds, and you can still see it looks like a hurricane or typhoon, as they call them in the western Pacific. You've got that center or almost eye moving through the Bering Strait and up around the west coast of Alaska. But wind gusts are going to be really hurricane force along the west coast. These are 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts hitting right kind of the nose there of western Alaska. We also have Tropical Storm Fiona in the Atlantic moving over Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, or very close to it here over the coming days. So kind of active tropical weather in a place you might expect it, but also one you might not, up around Alaska. We have a little bit of some warmth here lately, of course. The first half of September has been very warm. These overnight lows we've had lately in the 60s, pretty warm for this time of year. Actually, a level 2 on the climate shift index out of 5. So definitely some fingerprints of climate change on these warm overnights, in addition to some of these pretty warm days that we've had and will continue to see. The latest drought monitor shows stubborn, severe drought hanging on to most of the metro, especially the South Metro. And it actually expanded a little bit from 1 to 2% of Minnesota, and abnormally dry parts of the state have increased too. It's been a dry September, but pockets of some very heavy rain. These yellow and orange red spots are 2 to 4 inches of rain that already fell over the last 24 hours in parts of northeastern Minnesota. That's why there's a flood watch for Lake and Cook counties here in northeastern Minnesota. An additional inch to an inch and a half possible on top of those areas. So of course you also have topography along the North Shore, which can exacerbate some of that heavy rain and flood potential. And it's been, of course, a wet summer, spring, really year up to the north and northeast. We are going to watch for some thunderstorms to potentially pop in south central Minnesota. Whatever develops could move into the Twin Cities. So the best chance today of us seeing anything of significance is going to be late afternoon, evening hours. Otherwise, just some random sprinkles. And then tomorrow, late in the day, again, some thunderstorms popping. But especially again to the north, maybe a cluster of some storms here moving through the south central part of the state. We definitely need the rain. If we don't get much out of this evening or tomorrow evening, we're kind of out of luck for a while. It's going to be warm to start early next week. 80 on Monday, but upper 80s. There will be some 90s in parts of southwestern Minnesota, so very warm. And then a blast of real cool fall air finally. Thursday, Friday, highs in the 60s here in southern Minnesota, 50s only in northern Minnesota. And overnight lows, it'll be pretty chilly too. Widespread 30s and 40s, except for maybe the urban heat island. Yeah, we'll have to see if we can actually get below 50. We still haven't done it. Even if we do drop into the 40s in the Twin Cities next Thursday or Friday, that will still be the second or third latest that we've had to wait for that first night in the 40s. Pretty crazy. Upper 70s, still warm the next couple of days, just unsettled. And again, not a total washout here in southern Minnesota today and tomorrow. Best chances in the late afternoon, evening hours. Sunday should see decreasing clouds, not a bad day. And then Monday, Tuesday, very summer-like before that fall air moves in.